Let's see what happens. There we go. All right, all right. Welcome everybody today. Today we have a special treat for all of you. We've got the most amazing people on this stage right now. We've got people from Atlanta, Georgia, people from North Georgia, people in the woods, people in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There you go. And people from Dubai. All right. So we've got the whole spectrum here today. And we actually have a ghost in the machine. He's on the West Coast from the tree hugger state of Oregon. So we'll be we're all tree huggers here. We love trees and we're gonna have a good time. And we did invite another person, but he's not here. He was here, then he had to duck out. But today we're gonna have a pretty in-depth discussion. But the discussion right now is going to we have something Krishen it wants to that I want to talk about, and that's around AI. And Krishen is an AI practitioner. A really fascinating story. They were getting the AI collectives chapters going here in Atlanta, and I was invited for the launch, but I couldn't go. And Krishen, I said, "Hey, they only have so many spots. Do you want mine?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll take it." And he showed up and he kept showing up. And I have yet to go to one meeting. And right now, he is a leader in the AI Collective down in Atlanta. They already have 4,000 people in that community. It's amazing. And that has been a really interesting pivot for him. And he's doing some amazing things right now. And that's what we're going to talk to you about right now, Krishen, is tell us the backstory about your journey into AI and your journey as you're now a practitioner and an educator in the space, because we're going to talk about, that journey, and then something that you have on deck that's about AI automation for small businesses. And we'll talk about that later. We're here on the panel. We're going to ask you questions. Zakia has been commissioned to ask you some questions. Dennis is going to jump in on the back end of Zakia. And want to make sure you do not escape our presence today without thoroughly just getting everything we can out of you and all that goodness that you have to share. So, Krishen, welcome to the stage. And could you share a little bit about this journey you're on? Love to hear more about it.
Yeah, I'll try to give you the short version, and then we can.
So don't worry about me. I'm trying to figure this out. So
okay, I wasn't sure if that was me or you. So.
That's me.
Okay.
I'm trying to get you there, but yeah, just go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So the short version is I started my career as a programmer, and kind of moved into project management and then product management. I've been a founder of a few companies. One of them with a business partner that we've had for 20 years was Minitrack.com. Later sold that to one of our customers. But we started out back in 2000, before SaaS was really a term. So I've been in the B2B software space for a long time. In 2016, I went to work for a company, Process Miner, and they did and still do AI for manufacturers, helping them optimize their processes and apply recommendations in real time. And so that's where I really got kind of exposed to AI in a meaningful way for the first time, and just learned a lot about it through that experience over 8+ years. And then as all the generative AI has really hit over the last few years, I've really got involved in that, and work for a small startup. I'm a co-founder of a startup, Mindshift Dynamics, and we're really focused on applying AI for small businesses and enterprises, but I have a special, kind of fondness of small businesses because I have a lot of experience with that. So part of the teaching I started to do on Maven was really focused on helping people transition to kind of the new world order that we're in, where AI is really coming on strong. There's lots of layoffs, lots of people, taking early retirement, not necessarily from their, because they want to, but because that is like the best option for them as opposed to getting laid off. And there's other people that are doing, tremendously well in this economy. And I want it to work for everybody and for the people that need to make the transition. That's why I started getting into training, because it is a shift in the way of thinking. And so in Atlanta, like we said, we have a thriving community in the AI Collective. We have over 4,000 members currently and growing. And one of the things that I meet a lot of people that they're coming there because they want to learn about AI. And it's so we're started to put on different events and panels and workshops and vibe coding nights and a variety of things. And one of the areas that I wanted to focus on was really helping people get educated and skilled up on AI. So the thing you were asking about earlier today, which is why I went live stream, is an upcoming 3-hour workshop I have for focused on small business owners and using AI to help automate parts of their business, specifically using Claude Cowork, which is an Anthropic product. And the difference between it and like Claude, regular Claude chat, is this can touch files on your network. This can actually do some things for you. And the focus I'm starting with is really automating some of the business processes, and specifically the starting point of that is documenting business processes. So in a lot of cases, especially in small business owners, they know how their business runs, they know how various functions run, but a lot of it's in their head. And they look at it like, yes, I know I should document this. I know that will make it more scalable. I'll be able to train employees. I'll be able to go on vacation because the business, the rules of the business will be, known and people will follow those. But the thought of getting it out of their head onto paper is a gigantic hurdle. So one of the things I put together is just a technique for them to get over that part, and then also learn some of what they can automate in that process. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play you a little excerpt.
Well, wait.
Okay.
I want you to hold on to that. I want to take people on the journey, because they'll get that and then they'll leave our live stream. Actually,
All right.
I have a special guest here, Zakia, who actually ran a small business AI 9-week cohort. And I think she's got some questions for you about this focus in small business, because I'm a small business. And, I think that, if there's anybody who's going to really maximize AI, it's the small business community. But Zakia, I think you got some synergy there, some questions to ask him or some insights. I'd like you to ask some questions or share some insights.
Sure. I absolutely love what you're doing, Krishen. You are starting off exactly where we left off. In the summit, it was identify your workflows. And then we now have a community where we're working through them with Claude. What are some of those things that you are thinking will be some of those primary tasks that the small business owners are going to identify when they start articulating those workflows? Are there categories of things that you're thinking, yep, AI is definitely going to be suited for doing that for you, or being a part of what it is you're doing?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think there's 2 areas that to me come to mind, and I think for most small business owners, they can resonate to it, or 3. One is onboarding new customers. Like, what is that customer experience when they close a deal, they have a new customer coming on? What should happen? and how to make that happen automatically and consistently. So that's one area. The other area is in the operations, is fulfilling whatever the business does, fulfilling that thing, making sure that whatever the product or service they're offering, that product or service gets made, delivered, and creates a great customer experience. And then marketing. So like what, marketing sounds, depending on who you are, may sound simple, and it's, oh, I do some advertising, or I do some posting on social media, or I do, this or that. But that's easy, or companies typically do that, and they do it for short spurts of time, and they usually don't do it completely, and they definitely don't use it consistently. So those are like the three areas to me that are ripe for some level of automation, even if it's not complete automation. If you can automate and standardize some of those things, I think that's where there's a lot of opportunity to apply AI for small businesses.
Okay, so I was fiddling around with the buttons back here, and I put onboard new customers. What was the second one?
The second one is the operations. So whatever the product or service of that customer of that company is, being able to make the operations automated in a certain, as much as possible, but more importantly, that it's consistently done. So if you're a bakery, you want your baked goods to be great, consistent. You want to have enough of them. You want them to look good, all that kind of things. And the third one is really the marketing or promotion of your business.
Okay, excellent. So operations number 2, and then the third one is the marketing. All right. So sorry, Ned, I had to there was some feedback coming from yours, but so marketing. Okay, let me go ahead and let you guys keep at it. Zakia, you have some more questions, and Ned, jump in with your questions if you'd like. We're talking about Krishen has 3 areas that that Zakia asked him where can small businesses use AI, and so he went over onboarding new customers, operations, and marketing. So any follow-up questions on those areas, Neda or Zakia? Because I have some, but I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions.
I have a question specifically around warm leads. So that falls under the umbrella of marketing. So how has your experience been using AI for that specifically to automate, the cold outreach to potential prospects?
Yeah, that's one area that's a specific interest of mine. So I don't have it all worked out yet, but from the things I've worked on so far, a lot of it is defining who your target market is and really targeting. So like some of the clients I've worked with or potential clients, they really are looking at a shotgun approach where they're trying to market to the world, so to speak. And I think before you get into automation, it's really taking the time to really dial in on who you're going to go after, because that then feeds into, the cold outreach. It also fits into your content strategy, and it's something that like whoever's reaching out from your team has to. You want a consistent message and a congruent message and a believable message and a message that's people trust, that they believe you're actually doing that, as opposed to, hey, this sounds good or that sounds good, or let's go. The example I always give is a chiropractor, and you say, well, who is your ideal client? And they go, anybody with a spine. So that's not helpful. So a different one might be, expecting mothers that have lower back pain, or athletes that have joint injuries, and I'm not saying those are things people should go after, but like if you have a specialty of some sort, you'll get other customers. You'll get people that aren't athletes or aren't expecting mothers, but you have a target demographic you can go after, you can talk about, you can get word of mouth, and you can get get traction with. So part of it is, I know you were asking about the AI part, but part of it's all the pre-work to really dial in who your ideal customer is. And AI can help with parts of that, but it really takes the owner and the people that are, in charge of that to really engage in it. It's not something you just ask AI and it tells you and then you go after it. It's like AI is a great tool to get you off of the writer's block, so to speak, but you got to stay in charge and you got to really be dialed in on knowing your business and your ideal customers and your experience. And if you can do that match that with AI, that's helpful in that kind of dialing in process. And then beyond that, the experience I've had so far, and like I said, I'm still working on that part. But the automated parts, I don't think we're ready for prime time to automate everything, but I think you can automate parts of that. And as long as you have the system in place, and that's why I started with business processes, because understanding what your business processes are and how they should work is kind of the starting point to automation. You really need to define how you want your business to work first, and then you can pick areas to automate. So I know the dream is, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, is just you've got Hermes or you got OpenClaw just there, collecting money for you and reaching out, but that's not been my experience so far.
That is that was a great question, Netta. The marketing is one that, so you had said something that caught my attention, Krishen, which was, people marketing to the world. My question to you is that in the strategic business plan and even marketing plan for your client, that they have a statement that's marketing to the world, and therefore they want to market to the world using AI, or have they, what dynamic can you share?
I'm kind of using it extremes here, but
Okay.
But yeah, they want to reach out and automate like postings or emails or reaching out in those ways, or they want to have where if somebody responds, then somebody can call them back, but they don't really have their target market super well defined.
Okay.
And they want to go after too big of a area or spectrum to start with. And I'm not saying that can't work. I'm just saying my approach is really more the let's target in first and then test. I mean, obviously you don't necessarily know. You can do a lot of work and say, this is my ideal type client, here's the persona or whatever, and it might not work. But I'd rather do that and test it and figure out what you learn by that, and then adjust. Maybe that's not the right target market or ideal customer. Let's do that. And I'm kind of an analogy I had is I'm not a great golf player, but I did take some lessons way back when, and the instructor I had at that time, what he would do is, like, everybody wants to go to the driving range, but he said, what we're going to do is we're going to start out putting, and we're going to start out putting close. So you're like 1 foot away from the hole, and then you would kind of back up. And the same thing, he would work us through the clubs. And then when we got to the driver, he was like, don't try to kill it. Just try to, here's the swing you need to practice. And so we kind of worked up to like hitting it harder and farther and things like that. I later on saw an instructor where he had these, teenage kids learning golf, and he had the opposite. He had where they all started with the driver, and it was like, hit it as hard as you can. Don't worry about it going straight. And his approach was, it's hard to teach speed. So they need to learn how to swing it hard, and then we'll adjust to get them to hit the ball straight over time. So there's different ways of doing pretty much anything. But I kind of like the targeting in first, dialing that in, because I find that it in my experience, you don't waste as much energy. And if you do kind of the shotgun approach, you get tired out and disillusioned and, burn out and believing stuff doesn't work. When you try to market to the world, you don't get results. And it's like, no, this stuff doesn't work.
No, I'm glad you said that. Yes, people ask me if I golf, and I was like, yes, I do golf. And then once I golf with them, they're like, they never want to golf off with me because we'll spend 4 hours just on the front nine, but no, it's I no, that's interesting. So here's one thing, and I'll kick it back to Zakia or Netta, but you know, marketing or targeting to the world sounds amazing, but it really isn't, right? And just like from your experience, many marketers experience, they know better. But imagine most customers, most of us here today, if somebody were to tell us, I've got 10 customers, can you onboard them right now? We'd be a little bit overwhelmed, right? If we had to set up all the, onboard them correctly, set up their billing, set up, the first meeting, multiply that by 10 times in a business. I mean, it's overwhelming, and yet people want to market to the world. But I'm going to throw it. Those are my comments. Going to throw back to Zakia and Netta as you ask some questions, because we are talking about the small business and what you're going to help them as this other class, and we'll get to that in a second. Zakia, did you have something you wanted to approach?
Not necessarily. I was interested in some of the things that Krishen is seeing, and I'm wondering if we're kind of experiencing the same thing when we have these groups of people that we're training. How are you juggling those that are completely tech native and they're like, yes, give me all the AI that you can, versus those that are more on the, oh gosh, they're telling me I have to do it. I know I need to do it, but I'm think I might break it. So there's like that fear and overwhelm side, but then also the give me everything you got without actually having a target for where they want to go.
Yeah, I kind of have a process that I've kind of developed over a number of years, kind of a structure to do things. And what I've learned is I have to, depending on the customer, kind of modify that some, because like you just said, some are ready. They just want to move as fast as possible immediately. And some may want to move a little slower. They need a little help speeding up, because we are in a world where things are moving faster. And so I don't know if I have the right answer for that. So, but I think maybe because I'm learning the same thing where I'm starting to do classes. And so I kind of assume some people have certain baseline understanding of things. And luckily I've asked questions, and I find out, no, not everybody in here does. And so I need to, work that out to either, what I'm planning on doing is having kind of a couple basic slides. It's kind of like, hey, I know a lot of you already know this, but I'm going to make sure we're all on the same page, and kind of walk people through that they can bring them up to speed. Even if they don't understand everything, they at least understand conceptually where they're at and where we're going in the class. So that's kind of my answer right now, and definitely have some follow-ups as I learn stuff and you learn stuff. All of us on here progress.
Well, with that being said, did you say you wanted to share more about this class you're going to teach, or a snippet of something? I think you had something in mind.
I want to share a snippet of something. We can talk about the class also, but so this is on my phone, but this is an audio recording of a small business owner just talking into a recording device on his onboarding process. And this is a small bookkeeping company, but I want to play just a snippet to see if you guys kind of relate to it. Let's see.
This is just me talking through how we bring on a new client, because honestly, it all lives in my head. And Sarah's been asking me to write it down for like a year. So, new client onboarding. So usually it starts when somebody fills out the contact form on our site, or sometimes they just email me directly, or it's a referral and they text me, which those ones are messier because there's no paper trail and I have to remember to log it. Anyway, first thing I do, well, not the first thing, but early on is I send them a link to book an intro call. 15, 20 minutes. I used to do 30, but it was a waste. Oh, wait, I should back up. Before the call, I actually look them up. Like, I check out their website, their business, get a sense of whether they're even a fit, because not everybody is.
So if you guys can kind of relate to that, that's somebody explaining their onboarding process just off the top of their head. So if they're an owner involved in that, most people can do that level of stuff. It's like, here are the steps. He then talked about they learned to have a retainer up front because they had it where they did a lot of work and then the person couldn't pay, and so they decided they'll have some retainer up front to start people off with. However, if it's a referral from a good client, then they might just use their judgment and waive that. So they might not press that issue if it's a referral from somebody that's a good customer, because they want to keep that relationship good. And so there's so kind of in the class, one of the things, the kind of technique that I'm teaching is start with that, because I feel like one of the bottlenecks to documenting processes is that feeling that this is going to be excruciating or boring or time consuming or just something that's really not fun. And if somebody can just talk into a microphone, that can be a great starting point. So then I'm using Claude Cowork to take a transcript of that and then turn that into the start of a documented process. And then it's a lot easier to modify the review and modify it when you already have a document created than starting with a blank page and then trying to document everything. So that's kind of the gist of it. And I've got a fly that's bugging me.
Well, I wanted to add something.
Flies only show up when you're live. I just want to say that.
I wanted, Netta is very, I know Netta's might have something to say. She's walked into situations where there is no documentation and she is being asked to document. And so, Netta, do you have something to say about that? And, or ask Krishen a question around that.
So I worked at a very small startup for a few months where I was doing design work, but I was also helping I wasn't even present in the meetings most of the time because it conflicted with my work hours because I was working part-time there. But I had to get into the head of the CEO who was doing the sales. We were a team of 3, and I was doing the design work. So I had to ask the right question to the CEO who was present in the meetings to understand what was going on. So translate someone who knows sales to the pain and understand the pain points that were needed to be able to begin the designs and create the user stories and the user flow and understand the pain points and everything. The point I'm trying to make, and that's not the only experience, my last role as well, I was a release manager lead at Morgan Stanley through Infosys. And even over there, not all of the documentation was complete. So I created a lot of training documents from scratch for my team. If we are to use AI, the point I'm trying to make here is that the human needs to know how to ask the right questions. And even when you're prompting, the ability to ask the right questions and to know your audience is super crucial. Otherwise, because right now the questions are the input. If you don't have good questions, you have, sorry to say it this way, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah. Krishen, what do you guys say to that?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I kind of look at and I think it's a big advantage for those of us that have experience in business over a number of years, is you know better what questions to ask and be able to apply judgment based on your experience. But I kind of look at it like these large language models from a high level are they look at a lot of conversations from the internet. They're trained on a lot of public information. And so I look at it as what it's generating is kind of like the average person response. So it's not like it is here is the expert in this or that. You can ask for that, but it's kind of like you're asking the average person, what's a good answer for this? So it really takes those probing questions to really push the AI on that. And I was using AI for part of this, getting ready for this class, and it gave me a phrase it wanted me to use, and I was like, that phrase is not really like, it might be technically correct, but it's kind of misleading, and I'll have to look it up later. But it was kind of like I argued with the AI and then gave it an analogy, and then it's like, yeah, you're right, that's makes sense. But I had to know enough to argue with it for a little while before I could get to some resolution I felt good about.
Well, that's good. Jim, we're talking, I know you popped in, you're in and out, but Krishen's talking about an AI class he's going to be teaching for small businesses. And I'm going to, I know you have a Jim, before you ask him the question, because I'm going to have something scroll at the bottom of our stream. Can you share something, Krishen, about what this class is, and I'm gonna anything about the registration or anything that why someone might want to join this class that you're going to teach in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's really for small business owners that are kind of hands-on in their business, and they feel like they're the bottleneck in their business because they're the ones that know how to do everything. Even if they have employees, they're kind of having to, be a little more hands-on management than they'd like to. And so this allows them to be able to take some of that information out of their head, turn it into documented business processes. And then we're going to look at how do we then automate some of the things that have to happen, such as training employees on that or keeping those updated and things like that. So we're going to look at where can we apply AI first to document it, but then also how to maintain that over time and get it so that you can teach your employees, keep it updated, with the goal of you being able as a business owner to leave your business to go on vacation and feel good about it and come back and have your business better than when you left it.
Well, that's amazing, and I'll have some follow-up questions on that. But Jim, do you want to jump in here and ask some questions? Anything that's burning in your head right now?
You caught me in the middle of something, but you're talking about them using AI so they can go on vacation. Are you thinking more that by utilizing AI, they can kind of remove themselves from the business, or just make it more productive?
I look at it really focused on the business processes. So helping them document those business processes, train their employees on it, make sure they stay updated, and improve over time. So more on where they can apply AI to really do the things they already know they should do, but they're so busy and there's so many fires that they can't do it. So it's not like a YouTube video where it's like, oh yeah, install OpenClaw and it will deposit money in your account. So more of where's realistic to apply it, and it's using Claude Cowork as kind of the focus of it. But anyway, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, so maybe a better way to phrase it would be that you're going to use Claude to help them build a run book so that everybody understands what to do when they're away from the desk.
Yeah, that's a good way of explaining it.
And what I like about what you're doing, Krishen, is that you're removing the fear aspect, but you're giving a real use case for what many small business owners are often avoiding doing just because they know it in their head, right? So you're helping to pull that out of their head and create those standard operating procedures as an example for them then being able to hand that book over to someone, because oftentimes we haven't documented it. So we're hoping that it gets done magically by somebody reading our mind. And so I really like the approach that you're doing with that class.
Awesome. Yeah. And one kind
I have a question after. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead, Nana.
Apologies again. So I have worked in heavily regulated industries, financial firms, and I know that there are consultants who have small businesses, a lot of them that I've met in Dubai, and that's a small business in itself, right? So if they work with confidential information and, in a sector that is heavily regulated, are you at this point able to work with such clientele, and what is your input on on that?
Yeah, I had a conversation yesterday. So the answer to the second part is a lot of it depends on the company you're working. So like if you're engaged on an assignment with you're a consultant for a larger company, let's say, or somebody that's dealing with sensitive information. Part of it is what is that company's stance on how they comply with the data standards that they need to do. So, for instance, if a company has some of the larger companies I've worked with, they would provide a VPN, and I'd have like a virtual PC basically on their network, but I'd VPN into that. So then when I was working on that virtual workstation, it was basically on their network. And so it depends on that, and then what subscriptions do they have. So like a lot of large companies have subscriptions to some of these AI tools, and they're at a level where their data is segregated and not shared and not trained on, and not, the retention policy is clear and all that sort of stuff. So it really depends on the company, and I'm not really getting into that in this workshop. So it would be more for small business owners that they just need some help. They're working hard. They know they need to run their business more effectively. They want to apply AI, and their safeguards we'll talk about. But as far as like heavily regulated industries, I think it depends on the company you're dealing with, because I've dealt with a lot of companies, and different ones, even with the same standards, just have a different approach on what they view as okay or not okay. And so I think it just depends on the company and following their lead.
Can I just add something to that? Because we literally just went over this because the question came up. And another reason why I like the Claude approach or the co-work approach is that you are granting the permissions for where those agents have access. So one of the best practices is definitely don't give it access to your documents folder or your downloads folder, which probably has like a whole smattering of things. Another thing is, for every workflow that the agent is doing, you as the human in the loop, I call it high. Well, we learned this in the cohort. We call it high AI high, meaning the human in the loop, then the AI agent, and then the human again. So whenever you're working with Claude, you want to review any of the tasks that it's going to do, because it's going to ask you for your approval. And then the third thing is to make sure that you are checking the model training settings, because if you're on a basic or a standard plan on Claude in particular, your inputs may be used to train other models. So to prevent this, you definitely want to make sure you're on a paid plan, right? And this is really for small solopreneurs to the 5 small business or 5 employees thing. because then you can disable your data being used to train those models. So there's just a few things to consider as all of us are starting to use these tools, but it's so important to know those settings and to apply them when it makes sense.
Yeah, and with the model that just came out this week, Fable 5 from Anthropic, they updated their privacy policy. So everything you just said is correct. The one change is they will store the data for 30 days before they remove it. So they're not training on it, but that data still exists on their servers. And then, they have the standard caveat of unless there's some legal issue, in which case they can have somebody look at it, which pretty much all of them do. But I heard that Microsoft has put a temporary ban on people using that model within Microsoft because of that new data retention policy. So yeah, you definitely want to take safeguards, but it's changing all the time. And that's where, if you're dealing with a large company, I definitely would, follow the lead of that security organization within that company.
Just as we're, this has been a great conversation. I'd like to see, can you share with us a little bit about this class that you're going to teach? What are the details? When is it going to be? Why should people sign up today versus tomorrow? And what do they get for signing up for the class? Because it is a paid class. What are some of the things they get? Do they get access to the recordings? Give us a little bit about, what I just asked.
Yeah, and I think you've got a link down there. People can click on that and read some of that, but I'll give you some of the highlights. It's 3 hours. It's a hands-on class. Me and my business partner will both be there helping people work through a process that they bring from their own business. So when they walk out of that, they'll have a documented business process and also some different skills that will provide them. One of them is a branding skill. So something they can plug into their Claude Cowork, their Claude subscription, and then make sure all their documents are branded with their logo, their fonts, their basically design book. And so that's one of the things they'll get from that. They'll also get access to all the recordings, so they can go back and look at any time. They'll also be part of a community, and this is taught within Maven. So they'll get part of access to the community of everybody that took the course. And that's one of the valuable things in here is meeting other small business owners that are dealing with the same things, working towards applying AI effectively for their businesses. So that's one thing. And I just basically did a lot of revamps this week on it. So there are some things I'm probably not thinking of, but again, the documented process, a reusable brand skill, and then a working pipeline to do what we just talked about, be able to drop in a transcript of a recorded process or SOP, and then have a workflow that takes that, creates a document out of it. We'll show them how to make it so that it drops it into a folder that can be reviewed. And then, like Zakia said, kind of the human in the loop before and after, so that they can revise, review, because none of these things are perfect. But the idea is if you can get stuff out of your head on the paper, it's a lot easier to review and revise. And then if you have a custom branding skill that puts it so it looks like it's part of your company, that's a big burden that's taken off of just trying to do this by yourself or just trying to do it individually. So part of it is they can do a lot of the stuff themselves, but it's like, how much time do you want to spend on YouTube or looking around trying to figure these different things out?
Okay, so love what you just said. I think it's very applicable to many small businesses. But why should they, if they're going to sign up anyways, why should they sign up today versus tomorrow?
Today is because we have an early bird special. So this 3-hour workshop is $300 if they sign up today. it's $150. So
Wow.
it's kind of, yeah, it's a very small investment for what you're getting.
Yeah. Folks, I don't know if you've seen the news, but Anthropic, OpenAI, they're putting their own AI consultants into corporate America, the large enterprise companies, and they are not cheap. Many people here on stage today can have a niche piece of the, the other levels of small businesses and medium-sized businesses that are looking, and the rates are amazing. You want more information on that, be happy to share what are the rates that I'm seeing for people like yourselves who are domain experts in a certain area and have utilized AI to implement certain things that you're really good at. So, so thank you. That's a very hefty discount. So, I want to go around the horn as we close out. We're coming up to the top of the hour, and I'm going to start with Jim, then go to Netta, then go to Zakia, then and then Krishen, your final thoughts, and then I'll close out. So, Jim, any final thoughts as we close out today?
Yeah, I would just add that I really admire and appreciate the work you're doing on this, Krishen, to uh, get people involved with the future. I mean, this is really going to coming together, and here in Portland, there's a lot of interest in AI. We've been hosting a lot of hackathons and also teach us some classes here to the community, and it's very interesting the cross mix of people that we bring in every weekend.
All right. Thank you, Jim. What about you, Netta? Final words?
Yes, I'll keep it concise. I love everything Krishen is doing. Congratulations. And I will say that a lot of businesses can save time and money with businesses like yours, like what you're doing, and they can leverage with the time that they're saving to do something else, something more productive, put their teams on more exciting projects and get more things done. So we need more Krishens out there doing this. Thank you.
All right. Good stuff. Zakia, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think AI automation is no longer just a corporate luxury or something that the big guys are doing. It is a vital strategy for small business owners. And what Krishen is offering is really a way of really stepping into that intentionally with things that matter most for small businesses. And that's, how do we operate? How do we make money? How do we stay in touch with our customers? So I think it's going to be a wonderful program. And I'm looking forward to sharing notes on what you found once you get it all done.
Awesome.
All right. No, great thoughts. And, man, this has been a pretty amazing live stream. We've got 49 people that are with us today as we're wrapping up here, and just amazing. Thank you all that have joined us today. But Krishen, what's your final words as we go off into the sunset? And I'm going to ask that all of you, once we close the live stream, that you hang out. And I just want to postmortem with you guys. But yeah, what's your final words, Krishen, as we?
Yeah, I first of all, I appreciate all you guys getting on this at last minute at Bez's request, and thanks, Bez, for suggesting it. I appreciate all the feedback and questions. One of the things why I got involved just in the AI collective is because I want all of us regular humans to have a say-so in how AI goes. And right now it's a smaller group of people in large corporations and government agencies that are kind of guiding how things go. And I want us all to kind of have work together to have a big enough presence to control some of how that goes for us. And as far as this course, yeah, I look at it, this is the future. This is whether you like AI, don't like AI, somewhere in between, doesn't really matter. It's really coming as a wave. And anyway, yeah, if you want to take my course, please do. The discount code for the 50% off is early 150. So EARLY 150. Use the link that Bez has and do it today because the early bird special goes away after today. And anyway, I thank all you just for listening, joining in. I hope you got something out of it, and that's it.
Well, and that's an easy discount code, early 150, because they're getting 150 off. That's 50% off. So remember that, folks, early 150. That if you can't look, if you put early 50, then Krishen's going to give me the other 100. So I'd rather you guys have it. So, anyways, we 50 people joined us today, and we'll have these conversations every week. So just hang tight. I think all of us are in this in this world of how, figuring out what we're going to do with AI. And I always tell people, whatever your domain of expertise is, just utilize it in that, because then you can push back on the AI, have a conversation, and say, hey, I don't agree with that recommendation. Why did you give that recommendation? And give supporting, research or documentation around that. And sometimes the AI will say, you know what, was just going on a trend, something that, yeah, you're right. And this is more hyperbole than anything. And we, the data actually suggests something different. I've had AI do that, and Claude was one, so yeah, I mean, the best people who are using AI today are those that are domain in their expertise, because you can command the AI. And that's a good place to start from, right? Where you're a position of strength, so you can leverage that strength into magnifying and maximizing what you're good at. So, Krishen, thank you for sharing this, and thank you, Jim, Neda, Zakia, for helping facilitate this conversation, ask questions, share your insights and thoughts. All of us here are doing a lot of different things with AI, and anyone here who sees this can reach out to any one of us, and we'd be happy to share whatever we are doing. And Krishen, wishing you much luck on your class that you'll be teaching. Is that in a couple weeks? Am I correct on that?
You are. It is on the link. I should know that off the top of my head, but I think it's coming up 2 weeks from yesterday.
Okay.
It is on June 25th from 4 to 7 p.m. PDT.
There you go. See, because Jim's on the Pacific side. So he's giving us, don't get confused, those on the Eastern side.
Right.
But yeah, he did the calculation, or he looked at the link. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Well, anyways, as we conclude today, I hope that all of you have a wonderful weekend. And don't forget that today is one of the most important days of the year, and that's Father's Day this weekend that's coming up. So all fathers out there, remember, you get the big piece of chicken, as Chris Tucker would say, or I think that was him, or yeah. And make sure that you're the king for the day, because sometimes, we just do what we do, and we push through, and we don't ask for a lot of kudos, but this Sunday is your time to get those kudos, and have your significant others massage your feet and feed you breakfast and handed. So take advantage of it, all you fathers out there. And for those, man, I'm gonna work it. I'm gonna work it. I mean, it might be the only time the whole year I'm like, ring a bell. That bell might get slapped out of my hand, but we're gonna have a good time. And thank you, all of you, and all you fathers out there. Happy Father's Day weekend, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.